Okay, this is Peter Browning. I'm calling the Board of County Commissioners to order. It's 11:30, June 7th, 2022, and we're here for public comment and public participation. And so, the rules...
Pledge of Allegiance.
We need the Pledge of Allegiance. Yes, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. That's probably the most people we've had in here in a while, so it sounds good.
And it really is nice to do a Pledge of Allegiance over something like public comment, because you just realize how lucky we are. We can have all the public comment we need in this community. We all have a say. So this is very appropriate. I'm assuming you're all here for the same thing, or maybe not. But do you have one spokesperson that wants to start it out and get this going? Okay, go ahead. Perfect. Thank you. And whoever would like to be second in line, just go ahead and get to the on deck site.
My name is Kathy Holt. My address is 23162 Mosier Road in Cedar Woolley. My first question is, Ms. Janicki couldn't make it to the meeting?
I'm sorry, she cannot. She's just now trying to get back from vacation. So she leaves from here for Olympia first thing tomorrow. So she'll be kind of in and out a little bit this week. But yeah,
Okay.
but she'll be able to see
I'll
it.
get right into this. How do we get a copy of the canvassing board manual? We the people, how do we get copies of that?
The canvassing board is made up of somebody from the prosecutor's office, the county commissioner, usually the chair, and somebody from the auditor's office.
Mm-hmm.
So the auditor is the one who runs that board, and so they're the ones that deal with the.
So we could go to
The
the
auditor's office
auditor.
would have it.
Why wasn't the public invited for input when comprising the canvassing board manuals?
This is
you have
actually
a-
this is public comment. It's not conversation. It's a public comment. Is you can tell us what
Okay,
you think.
these
Yeah.
are questions then
Yeah.
that you can maybe bring back to the next meeting? So are they
I'm the one
getting?
that is involved with the canvassing board, so
Yes.
I will take those back to the next meeting.
Okay. The next question I have that maybe you can address at that is, have all your meetings of the canvassing board been compliant with the Public Meetings Act?
Yes. They all have to report it. Mhm.
Where are the minutes of the board meetings recorded, and can they be viewed?
Again, that's Sandy Perkins. Ask her.
A lot of buses, okay. The public was the public invited to every canvassing board meeting that's been held?
Again, I don't know that. That would be Sandy Perkins' question. She's another, just so clear, she's another elected official. We don't control other elected officials. We control their budget. We don't control the work they do. And so anything that's related to her, certainly you can talk to us, and we are.
You are part of the canvassing board.
I am part of the canvassing board, but the rest of
Correct.
the other commissioners aren't. So we have one representative there. It's important we have one representative there, but it is run and managed by Sandy Perkins.
Okay, so
As-
you're on the canvassing board. Do you consistently show up at those meetings, or do you elect somebody else to be there in your stead?
If I'm not there, then we do have a second, but I've been at the ones that they've had since I was in office.
Okay, do you all have a copy of the Secretary of State's last audit of the Skagit County's election procedures and review?
Again, that's a Sandy Perkins question, and your 3 minutes are up. Okay, so. Thank you.
My name is Richard Brampton. I live at 19147 West Big Lake Boulevard.
Yeah.
And I'll try to keep it short and sweet. I discovered as a voter that there are three entities that make up the election board that consists of the commissioners, the auditor, and the prosecuting attorney. Between you folks and your entity, we are persuaded to know that our election is run a certain way by the legislature. It's designated. And the only real question I really have is there a public forum where the people can come and place a concern or a praise report concerning what's going on in the elections, or an election, like the one that's coming up? We have it every 2 years. And I was wondering if we could have this a public forum where we could meet, you folks designate the time and place, and make it a public declaration so we all understand we can show up. The reason I am here doing and asking this is because I want to verify my trust in this institution. I have to trust but verify. I've heard that before. We all do. And we think that it can happen. We just would like to see it transport in another fashion, a little more open. I haven't heard any public forum presented to the election canvassing board since, I guess, 2005, since they started electronic elections. I would like that addressed. That's my concern. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard.
I'm Janice Lafreniere-Sabo, and I live at 600 Skagit Highlands Parkway in Mount Vernon. My comment is very brief. I'm a Skagit County resident. I've recently been informed of the 2019 Washington Secretary of State report regarding the massive election findings against Skagit County election officials. As a voter, I'm very concerned with the staggering number of violations. We need accountability and a return to the rule of law in elections in our county. So I am requesting that you hold a canvassing board meeting in order to allow for a period of public comments. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Janet. Next up. Okay, let's keep filling up the on-deck circle and yeah, so we know who's up next.
My name is Lori Top. I live at 11524 Panorama Drive, Cedar. So I'm a Skagit County resident, and just like the previous person who had a comment, I heard about the 2019 Washington Secretary of State report with the many violations, and I'm concerned also about our elections and accountability. And so I would also like to request that there's a public hearing in order for the public to address these concerns. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Lori.
I'm Deanna McDougall, and I live at 13503 Josh Wilson Road, Mount Vernon. I'm here also in regard to the Secretary of State report that came out in 2019. I can echo what the last two people had said, but it was stated that the canvassing board has met, and so my request is I'd like to know the dates of when the canvassing board met following this 2019 report, and I would also like to know when or if the public was notified, because my understanding of this is that that's a requirement, that the public is notified. We have opportunity to be in attendance. We have the opportunity to comment at least. I've served on the voter integrity group. I've gone door to door identifying. We found over 1,500 anomalies. One location had 17 ballots cast. So I'm echoing what's being said here. I am becoming more and more aware of the corruption of what's happening in Skagit County when it comes to our elections. And if we do not have fair, honest elections, we do not have liberty. And so I don't care what side of the political aisle someone's on. We should have a dedication to honesty, truth, and only legitimate people casting ballots. And that's not what we're discovering. And so as our elected officials, we just want all of our elected officials, and in particular the prosecutor's office and the auditor's office, to know, be on alert, because we are not going to stand by and have our elections compromised anymore. We'll dig deeper and deeper and deeper until we get to the truth, and we clean things up, and we follow the Constitution of the United States and the Constitution of the state of Washington. Thank you.
My name is Emma Top, 24561 River Road, Cedar Woolly. I'm just going to reiterate what the other speakers have said. I'm concerned about the integrity of our elections. Seems to be some very evidence of military ballots being compromised, for one thing. I would like to have a public hearing on the canvassing board, the manual, public meetings, so that we know what's going on. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Next.
We have about 8 people on Zoom as well to provide comments.
Okay, well, we'll just jump over to the 8 people on Zoom. If any of you change your mind and you want to speak afterwards, there'll be time. So let's go ahead and start with Loretta. You're up.
Thank you very much. Good morning, Commissioners. Loretta Humble, Lake Kavanaugh. I would like to comment regarding my road sign requests. I had previously sent an email to you and to Grace Kane. Since that time, Grace has responded and states that my requests are under review. That being said, I'm not certain which of them might be included in the review. The road sign requests include more share the road, 25 miles per hour, one blind hill sign at about 33593 South Shore, and a possible electronic your speed limit sign or speed is sign. Of greatest importance, however, is a directional address sign for North Shore. This sign would split and guide drivers to the proper side of the barriers listed by addresses and arrows, similar to a hotel, if you will. Regarding the topic of a suggested directional sign at the junction of North Shore, South Shore, as stated at a previous meeting, we're having difficulties with delivery drivers due to the North Shore closure. The drivers are frustrated and just dropping the packages at the barriers or dumping them all at one house and not driving around to deliver to the appropriate address or location. How long will it be before drivers refuse to deliver to North Shore? The box trucks have no turnaround available. Therefore, if you need a new refrigerator or new washer and dryer, you'll just be out of luck. The suggested directional sign that I shared in my email includes the addresses and directional arrows guiding to the correct side of the barrier. This sign would not only assist deliveries, but also guests, volunteers, fire department officials from other stations during emergencies, just to name a few. Due to the North Shore closure, there, of course, is much more traffic on South Shore, and many of these drivers that are perhaps guests are speeding around the lake to get to their destination. In doing so, they are jeopardizing the safety of our walkers, bikers, and runners. These are the reasons for the 3 of those sign requests. The other sign request is Blind Hill, whereas they're not just the hill, but it curves at that point. Drivers are using the center of the road as opposed to staying on their side, creating a safety hazard. There have been several narrow misses by drivers in this section. As of this morning, I also received a request from the fire department. They would also like to add to my sign request the new roadside reflectors, those tall, skinny reflectors. They are in need of replacement as they are inadvertently knocked down by the snow plows, which is understandable. I ask that you walk in our shoes for just a moment to realize, understand, or comprehend the difficulties that the barriers are creating. This is a substandard way of living, to say the least. I ask again, please expedite North Shore road replacement and or repair to help bring our community back to normal. Thank you.
Thanks, Loretta. I will follow up on the signs first of the week, so thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Next. Your name and, let's see, there's a man in kind of a bluish plaid-looking shirt.
Daniel Downs.
Daniel Downs. God, I haven't seen you for a while. It's good to see you, Daniel. Go ahead.
He's still muted.
You're muted. You're muted. Still muted.
How about now?
You're fine, Daniel. That's perfect. You have at it.
Oh, good. Okay, I just wanted to say that, what's been happening in this country in the last couple of years regarding elections, and then with the new information coming out from Mr. Cody Hart for the local government, I think that it's really important that for our nation at the local level, that we establish that we have, in fact, fair elections. With the Dominion voting system, a lot of these things going on where we don't have hard copy, we can't actually check things like we used to. We need to up the ante on the diligence, because I don't think you gentlemen need to know that, or anyone in the audience, that the elections are the keystone to our contract with our government. They are the keystone. And if those elections are violated, then you have broken the contract with the people of the United States. This is a very serious thing because your authority is derived from the people of the United States. So I would just like to urge you, as much as possible, to take action as these others have mentioned and as Cody Hart has recommended, so that we can be assured that the election coming up here this fall will be fair and honest and truly be representative in nature. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. And I have read Cody's report, so I do appreciate, but yeah, I appreciate and it's good to see you. Thank you. All right.
Yeah, good to see you.
Thank you.
All right, bye.
We have Patrick Donnelly on Zoom.
Okay, great. Patrick?
No comment, thank you.
Okay. We have someone named Jeff on Zoom.
Jess?
Jeff.
Okay.
We're not unmuting, but we have a Rachel Odell who would like to speak next.
Okay, go ahead, Rachel.
Hello, can you hear me?
We can, thank you.
Okay, hi, I'm actually joining you from the beautiful state of Montana, although I was a previous Skagit County resident until January last year, 2021. So, but my comments are to reiterate what you've already heard. I was recently back in Washington visiting family, and I heard about everything that was happening. And had I known there was actually so much fraud and things happening going on in Skagit County, I would have kept my actual ballots that I received, but I disregarded them as an honest person, did not cast a Skagit County ballot in 2020 when I was mailed one and I was no longer a Skagit County resident. So I just wanted to have that part of the public record that I myself received an erroneous ballot, and I know more friends of mine who have moved out of state or out of county who have received them as well. So the auditor's office is definitely not doing their job, and I would like that just to be noted, and so that you guys can move along with your process of finding out the truth and getting fair elections back in Skagit County. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Rachel. I appreciate it. And say hi to all my family in Whitefish. Okay. Thank you. All right.
We have a phone call on Zoom.
Is there a name?
No, it's just a phone number.
Okay. The phone person on the phone, please identify yourself and your address, and it's your phone. It's your time.
And we push *6 to unmute when you're by the attending through the telephone.
Yes, my name is Cody Hart. I live at Prospect Street in Cedar Woolley, Washington. And I am commenting today to request and reiterate the need to hold a canvassing board meeting and to request the Skagit County representative on that meeting request this meeting and notify the public of the yay or nay of the other members to conduct a meeting prior to the upcoming August primary. I'm also notifying the Skagit County Board of Commissioners that the Secretary of State's office has confirmed that whoever is in the role of canvassing board member on behalf of the county residents who has not signed their oath of office is in violation of state law. Furthermore, I wanted to notify the board representative that delegation to a board member who is currently in the upcoming primary is in violation of state law on the delegation of authority requirements for your role. Excuse me. Lastly, I want to reiterate that a public meeting of the canvassing board to receive public comment will help restore faith in the election system at Skagit County and help restore faith that you as an elected official believe in the rule of law and the democratic process. Thank you.
Thanks, Cody. I appreciate it. I appreciate our conversation. Who else? All right, great.
Steve Granahan, 15848 State Route 9, Mount Vernon.
Great.
I'm just here to reiterate everything that's been said, according to Cody also. And I would like to know when we could get that meeting set up with a public forum. And is that going to happen in the near future? And that's my question.
Okay.
And
again, this is supposed to be a comment and not interaction, but I will tell you that the process will still be, you have to get in touch with the auditor and request the meeting with them. I'll be at that meeting,
okay,
but it has to be because we cannot tell any other elected official what to do.
Okay.
Essentially, that's their role as another elected official. They can act with a certain level of autonomy. So, but I would happily join a meeting with all of you when you get that ready.
Okay.
So, okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. And again, this is as I said early on, this is the beauty of living in a country like ours. You have the right to ask and you have the right to request and expect to have a reasonable conversation. So have at it with the auditor. Okay? Okay. Anybody else?
Can I submit these questions for your review and maybe you can come up with answers?
I'll take them.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Yes, go ahead. Commissioner Leeson, do you have anything?
Yeah, just thank you very much for coming in. As you all know, there is a process to observe the ballot counting and the ballot process, and that is set up with the auditor. You have to take a training course ahead of time. I encourage you to do that, to take the course and be there. I've been on the canvassing board 4 or 5 times, depending on our election cycle. The commissioner, who is the chair, is the one who represents the commissioners on the board. And only one time in all those have I ever had anybody from the public in there watching. And the first meeting on the canvassing board, you actually check signatures that have not been or not adequate, and so the signatures don't look the same as what they have on file. And so you check those and you say yes, no. Anybody that gets kicked out on that gets a notice, say, hey, come in and rectify your signature that you have on file with Skagit County, and we get several hundred every time that people don't even bother coming back in. Then the last meeting you have on the canvassing board is the one that actually certifies the vote tallies and so forth. So that's what my experience with the canvassing board has been. And like I said, I encourage you to talk to the auditor's office and make sure you take the training course so you can be in the room and watching the election process, how it goes. Last couple of years with COVID, they've restricted that quite a bit, but hopefully they'll open it up a little bit more now. But that's up to the auditor's office how they decide to handle it. So, thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate it.
You know, it is really important. If you've got any concerns that I'm in the process of changing my signature a bit because it was so illegible. I just got a ration from everybody in this building. So I'm going to go in here in the next month and redo my signature with the much more legible current version. If there's any question about your signature, or if you've got loved ones that have gotten older and it's gotten much more fragile, remind them that that is a necessary part of being a voter, is that you have a really good, legible, a real accurate signature on file. So, because they do schedule it. Yes?
Can you do that in the auditor's office?
Yes, you do. Yep. And it's really important. I'm going to do that in the next 2 weeks because I got to get ready for the election time. So, but any of you with any concerns at all, you can go make sure and check it's accurate.
And the other thing on that is, if the signatures don't match up with what they have on file and what they do, they send you a nice little letter that says, hey, come back and update it. And you've got the 3 weeks between election day and the final, and that's when you have to get in there to do that, to update your signature. So that is the process. The other thing, as you mentioned, was the voter rolls. The state RCWs, the rules say pretty exact how the process is looked at on updating those voter rolls. And I think that's an area we all can do better on. If you get ballots mailed to your home that they don't live there, you need to make sure you contact the auditor, say, hey, they don't live here anymore. Please remove this person from my from the voter rolls. And you need to make sure they get back to the auditor's office so they can physically remove the ones if you got extra ballots. So that's one of the areas I think we could all do better on our voter rolls to make sure that gets cleaned up better than it is.
Yes.
Time frame again to be able to go down to the auditor's office to verify signatures?
You could do it any time, but
Up until the
if
election,
you
I'm saying.
vote and the auditor sends you a letter saying your signature doesn't match, you have until it's 3 weeks or 2.5 weeks after the election day to get back in there to get a new updated signature card. Because we get some come through, people just printed, and I know my signature is the one I did when I was 18, and that was a couple years ago. So it changes over the time. So everybody needs to look at that, and you can go in and do it anytime to update your signature with the auditor's office.
Yes, Kathy?
Day of electronics, is there a way that through the coroner's office or through official death records that could be automatically submitted to the auditor's office? They don't seem to be able to follow through themselves with searching for people that still are alive. A lot of dead people seem to be voting. I'm just wondering if there's a way.
There is a process laid out in our state law how it's supposed to happen, but we in this office, commissioners, don't do it. It's the auditor's office who handles those things. So those are good questions to have for them, because I don't
Sandy
know.
Perkins is gonna love you after this meeting, isn't she?
That's the process. The auditor, like Commissioner Browning mentioned, we have different elected officials, we have different responsibilities. Commissioners in charge of the county budget and setting their budget, but we can't change their policy. So it's up to them, because they're elected individuals, to decide how they're gonna run their policy, so.
Yes, Kathy?
Does the auditor's office, do they hold a meeting like this? Or do we have to one-on-one try to talk to her on the phone? Or how do we get there, like this?
You can phone, you can set up an appointment, a meeting. I mean, it ups up the auditor how she wants to deal with the public comment. The one thing with the COVID and open public meetings law, we are finding The rules are, if we have a public meeting with two commissioners together, we have to advertise it. We also have to have some remote access available for it. And so I don't know if that's gonna go with the canvassing board, it has to be the same way. I don't know that exactly, but I know we can't have another meeting where we don't have remote access from anybody to come in. So the rules have changed a little bit with the governor's, new
Does the
rule.
auditor answer to anybody?
They're an elected official, so they are answered to the voters every 4 years, so.
Well, no, that's not what I mean. I mean, like the chain of command, like we come to you, the commissioners.
Yeah, you can come to us commissioners, but our
but
only
you're not
authority,
over the auditor.
our only authority is their budget. So we could cut their budget in half, and so they couldn't count the ballots, but that really wouldn't be a very good thing to do. So that's all our authority over them is the budget, so.
So do you have any strings to pull that could make her come to a meeting like this so we could have a public meeting with her instead of having her hide in an office that we can't get to?
But it isn't politically acceptable for us to say we're not gonna open your, we're not gonna approve your budget, because then she could just come back and say, well, I'm not gonna be able to count the ballots, and that didn't help the problem. So you have to work with the elected official, and we will definitely work with the elected official to try to help with meetings and so forth, but that's the process.
Back to your kind of chain of command or accountability thing, we are all ultimately, there's a state oversight. So if either Commissioner Wiesen and I have misbehaved, it goes to the state. If somebody in any department that's an elected official, that has to do with state oversight, not local. And so no, there are no strings to pull or any pressure that we can exert to them. They do our standalone, and as Commissioner Wiesen put it, every 4 years, people get to tell her whether she's doing a good job or not. But
Providing the elections are fair and honest.
And that's why the observation is important, to make sure we have public there.
We see that doesn't work very well.
When will there be a county canvassing board meeting? Because at that meeting, if I'm understanding correctly, Peter, you would be there, Sandra Perkins would be there,
Mr. Janicki would be.
Melinda Miller then is usually there from the prosecutor's office.
okay. When can we have a meeting like that? Because then the individuals that we have concerns or questions for are present, and according to what I understand, when that meeting is held, the public is to be notified, and there's opportunity for we the people to have input, comments, whatever. So that'd be my question. When is the next county canvassing board meeting gonna be available for us to attend?
I honestly don't know. I just go from my schedule, and it's not the next 3 weeks, and that's about as far out as I go on my schedule, just to keep track of where I am.
But
So,
the auditor's office could make that request to have a meeting and so forth, so.
Okay, so I think the auditor's office needs to hear from us, and we the people are requesting, not even just requesting, we're demanding that there is a canvassing board meeting where we can have the opportunity to have input and ask some questions. So we'll go to Sandra.
sounds good. Thank you all. We've got to move on to our next part of our day, but thank you all very much. Appreciate your input. And I expect to see some of you at my next canvassing board meeting. Great, thank you. We are adjourned. Thank you.